This is an instruction video for the MALM dresser from Ikea. This is what it looks like complete, and what we're going to do is there's a little bit of a lighting issue. I'll get into that in a different situation here, but what we're going to do is we're going to show how the assembly works. And basically you start out by kind of pulling the pieces out of the boxes. Don't spread them out too much, but on this one the side rails come pre-assembled, and that's good. And on this one, unlike some of the other IKEA furniture, this stuff pretty much should only go together one way. So there's no unused holes on the stuff here. Basically, if it's a larger hole, it gets a dowel. If it's a smaller hole, it gets one of those little turnbuckle anchor deals. And the first stage of it is that we lay these out and we put all the fixtures on the flats. And we'll show the next stage here in a few seconds. Okay, next stage, we put our crossbars all on one side, and there's little feet that go on here too, little plastic feet that'll just slide into the spot. We put the crossbars on here, and you want to fit them before you put the little turn locks in. At this stage of the thing, this thing's going to be really delicate. If these were tweaked one way or the other way, it could break something. So we be very careful at this stage. One side's going to have a decal in whatever color the piece of furniture is in, so the decal is going to face outward. A couple of these won't have decals at all, so you just have to figure that they're going to be in a part that's not in view. And this is where you could get something wrong, because these pieces that don't have a decal at all are interchangeable with this front piece. So look at it and make sure that it makes sense before you make things permanent by putting it all together. Next stage, we'll be putting the other half on. Now, some people, and I believe according to the instructions, they want to put the little turn locks in before they put the other half on. I'm going to show you a trick how you can avoid that, again, just in case you need to pull something apart in case you've made a mistake. Okay, so we very gently put this where it's going to go, and then one at a time position these in, and it'll start falling down. But we don't force anything. We do it very, very carefully at this stage. So very gently, very carefully, they all get set here. We've got the dowels lining up with their holes, and we very carefully, very gently start to settle those on the holes. We're not hammering, we're not shoving, we're not slamming, we're not putting any serious weight on this. We're making sure that all of these things very gently wiggle into the appropriate holes and that they go straight as we press them into place. Again, the thing's very wiggly and loose because there's no other reinforcement in place, and we'll be working on that as we go. So very gently, very carefully, we take these little turn locks. We want that little U shape facing toward the little screw stud there. We press them in, and what you'll notice is there's a little wiggle room, but you've got that little pointer, you know, it's basically a screwdriver slot. Works with a common Leatherman tool, and we take that and we turn it, and it will go almost all the way around and just very gently lock that in place. Now there can still be a little wiggle room here. We just want to make sure those stay level. So we're going to press all of these in and then very gently turn them to lock with the Leatherman tool. And they're all over the place, but we do this at this stage. When we get to the upper part, we do those up here, and you'll see it draw the pieces down a little tighter as you turn it. Okay, so with those cross pieces tight, we can stand this up and then work on the top. And once the top is on, it's going to have a fair amount of structural integrity. This setup has two drawers here, so we're going to build a reinforcement piece that goes across the middle here. That's this, and you'll see the coloration of whatever color that comes in is going to be on one little strip. On these cross strips here, you're going to find that one didn't have the holes for the little turn lock things, but it does have dowel holes. So you have to look at it carefully to tell which is the front, which has the wood grain stuff. You simply place this into the dowel holes here. It gently goes into place, and then up here it will be the notch that holds that in. And then in your little parts bin, most of these little turn locks are plastic, but there are a couple of metal ones. The metal ones are thicker because they're made to go into this thicker piece, and so we'll put those in. And just because it has a cross screw, do not use a power tool on these. Hand screwdriver only. I just use a Leatherman tool, it's just fine. And everybody makes a mistake once in a while. What this section actually takes is this little L bracket. It's pre-drilled for that. What you'll use in this is these little screws here, not the ones with the flat head, but the ones with slightly rounded. Again, sorry for the light. It's going to affect the resolution on this video, but it will get the message across. So if you put it together like this, that's wrong. The little turn anchor needs to be removed, and then we'll put the screws in, which is pretty easy. I mean, every once in a while it happens. Next stage on this, because it is the one with the two drawers up here, we need to position drawer slides here. You'll get a bunch in a kit. Most of these are what goes on a drawer, and they have kind of a Z shape to them. But if there's one that's a U shape, that's what goes here. And then the wheel on the side braces, the wheel always goes forward. On the drawer, the wheel goes to the rear. But on these, the wheel goes forward when it's on the side brace. Just a little more clarification. The wheel goes forward and downward. You'll see a little Z shape. This is basically the drawer closer mechanism on this style of drawer. If you ever get confused, just look at the ones that were pre-installed and copy what they did. And you can see that there. There it is, ready to install. We're just going to gently put it on top and press it down, and then put the turn locks in these little positions. Okay, so with the back, like a lot of the other Ikea stuff, it is actual structural part of the piece. The other thing is that these things have some flex to them. So if you don't get the back on straight, the thing will never be square. So we position the back, we check squareness. These little corner cutouts go at the top so that when the piece is being moved, there's a handhold for movers. Okay, that's how that works. And what we want to do is we want to use the shape of this, because this is machine die cut, to make sure that we're going to guarantee the squareness of the piece. It's kind of important. And then when we nail the back in, you can't use a nail gun on this, so you got to hand nail it. And the screws don't work really well either. Just use the pack of the nails that comes with it, and you work your way outward from the corners, a couple on the corners, and then the center, and then go halfway, halfway, halfway. Don't just start working your way out here, here, here. Work your way out, do a couple in the corner, a couple in that corner, from the corner, then the center, and then just keep splitting it as you go around. And then eventually what that does is it makes the piece much more rigid. So with the back nailed on and the top in place, now is the time to position a dresser where it's going to go. They're a lot more harder to move when everything's in position. Again, it's still a little wobbly. We don't want to throw anything out of alignment. But it's relatively rigid and lightweight when you go to move it when it's like this. So next, what I'm going to do is put together one of the drawers, because they all pretty much go together the same way. First stage of a drawer assembly is we grab a drawer face. A drawer face on these is a structural part of the drawer. On other drawer designs, it's not, but on these it is. So on basically in all the MALM series and dressers, it's like this. So what we do is we put the dowels in a dowel pinhole, which is slightly larger, and then the turnbuckle locks in the slightly smaller hole. There's a small little rubber bumper tab that just is a press fit into here. That's so that when you close the drawers, they don't slam hard and start marring up the finish. So this is the first stage, and again, we're going to tighten it with a screw gun, but not real powerfully. And if you have a low-powered screw gun, that's fine. Because what happens is if they want to go in a little crooked, they'll straighten themselves out when they hit that shoulder, but you don't want to strip it. You don't want to hit it very hard. It can be a little frustrating as you go through your pile of drawer sides to get your right side, left side sorted out. But the way this goes is the access point for the little turn locks is going to be on the outside of the drawer. You'll be able to tell the outside also because these are the mounting holes for the rails, the slider rails. And then you'll have slots here on the inside for the back. And so these just press on, and then we'll put the turn locks in here to hold that rigid. And you go ahead and do that right away. It's we kind of want these rigid as we put the next parts in. Next comes the back and the bottom. Now the bottom of the drawer is going to have one side that's kind of got a plastic material. The other side looks like the cardboard. It's a styling issue. You could go either way, but generally you want the gray to be on the inside of the drawer, so it's just going to pop right into here. And then the back has this gray paper that usually doesn't quite go into that edge entirely, but that's what's going to lock this in. So we're going to pop that in, and then we're going to pop that all into place, and then I'll show you how we tighten it up. So it's all popped into place, but it's still a little bit rickety, right? Okay, we've got these, which are a press fit, and they just go right into here. You get them started, and then you get these started. You lightly tap it with a hammer to finish it in.